First.
You said it was up, I don't know, there was one email still had the second delegation of it, but I see this one doesn't, so. So just as long as everybody got the correct one.
No. You're actually promised them. I think that's in there.
Yeah. One.
Yeah, both of them, yeah, the update with the agenda. Like the division, the addition one is fixed, yeah, it's that one.
Yeah.
And one also security. I don't know.
Mine.
That's not simple. So I think it's worth reading, so you can,
First security.
use as your access.
That's really both. I'm just gonna spread it out. So people probably need
It's just fiction, it's truthful.
okay. All right, 9 o'clock. Good morning, everybody. Call the meeting to order. Start with our brief land acknowledgement. We acknowledge the Indigenous people and the ancestors whose lands we now share. Adoption of the agenda, there's a couple of additions put on there, and there was one deletion, which the printed copy has a deletion. The emailed one still showed it was under 4.0 B. There was a second delegation that's been removed. Any other additions?
We need one more in camera. Peace Housing Foundation under section 28.
So 10.0 in camera, item C was, mine's all the other than where. North piece.
So, yeah, we put that on there.
Oh,
Email additions.
Casing Memorial, get a motion to adopt the agenda with the additions.
I will.
Councillor Malabisky, all in favor? It's carried. Minutes from January 13th. Any discussion? Any errors, corrections? If not, the motion to adopt the minutes. Councillor Decken, all in favor? It's carried. Your delegation's not scheduled till 10:30. So we can skip down to policies 5.0. And these are policies that we previously had, gave first reading to, so. We'll just let Teresa catch up here. Okay, there we go. So we're looking to give second reading to the land use amendment bylaw 25-61-504. You prepared to make that motion? You're still looking for
So
it?
there was some changes made just for council's attention.
Pardon me?
Following the last council meeting, there were some changes that were
Yes.
made just to the language, so.
No, we have to go through them, or I think everybody.
No, it's explained in the background there. It's pretty minor on this one.
Okay, so Councillor Sinski gives second reading, all in favor? Carried. Okay, give third and final. Okay, Councillor Malabisky, all in favor? Carried. For 5.0 B. Proposed bylaw amendment number 25-61-504, same thing.
And same thing, the additions or the modifications are expressed in the background. They're not highlighted on the bylaw itself, so just make sure you've read them and it makes sense from the last meeting.
You just got incorporated in there?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, second reading.
Second
Okay, Councillor Shelton, all in favor? Carried. Now move to third and final reading. Councillor Fees, all in favor? It's carried. Okay, we can move down to 6.1.1, item A is upcoming RMA convention and EOEP courses. And you were provided with a list of courses that you have. Those for your review. So I guess first thing, attendance, who's attending?
I'll be attending.
Jerry? Yeah. Brenda? Yeah. Maria? Brent? Yeah. Linda?
Still not sure. I have to see if I'm gonna try. I haven't been able to get time off yet. I haven't talked to them. I would like to, because I've never been to one.
So what's the deadline for,
Yeah.
refunding if we do register?
The registration is fine, it's the hotel that's gonna fight it.
Right.
Okay, well,
It was my year in a different moment.
right. Yeah.
Pardon me?
I'll go.
Okay, so all council.
I already resigned on June.
And then I guess as far as rooms, you look after if Gerard's going, if Charles is going. And Charles' stuff, and your stuff.
That's it.
Yeah, nobody else.
No.
Josh has Earl or.
No, he's got auditors.
Well, yeah, more than likely, I'll from here ones.
And then courses,
There you got a question there.
Are we gonna be traveling together?
well,
Well,
I don't plan tomorrow sometimes, but I'll.
I'll plan for tomorrow, so.
It's a month and a half away, so I'm
Yeah.
I'm assuming we would, right?
Don't be done for safe cost.
I don't think anybody is taking any cruises.
Well, that service to everyone, I don't think that I have that one. I don't know if that's a good value.
Do you get your certificate?
Pardon me?
If you got your certificate, you should have that.
That was a mandatory one for the certificate.
There's service delivery?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not listed. on-
Effective meetings and the CAO ones were the only ones that don't count towards your certificate. On the,
And I've got mine, but I don't see screening planning on my thing, and I know. I think sometimes
they changed that one, they changed the name.
Name.
Yeah.
Good thing you know.
Okay, so then, so we only need to travel out on Monday then. Okay, get a motion to, acknowledge receipt of the report and register all council. Or RMA. Okay, Councillor Reese, any discussion, all in favor, it's carried. Item B, Pink Shirt Day. So this is just a initiative to support this.
Yeah, I asked for it to be on there and I think it's pretty self-explanatory what was in the email there. I just feel like it's a good campaign and it's a good opportunity for us to support local. The local businesses are making these shirts for a good deal and the money is going to the Manning Strays and Adoptables, which I think is also a great cause. I think we're always room for improvement as council to get out and about and take part in these initiatives and be part of our community. So I think this would be a very good way to do it with a fun activity plus a good cause.
Yeah, thank you. Any,
I agree with. Taylor on this one. I mean, we can, I can buy them more, but we get rid of it. Do it for the group and then they can get without us.
I would also like to extend that to staff if that's possible. I think it's a very good idea. Maybe we should find a common, whether it's a charity or something that we support and we can volunteer our time, whether it's an hour of our time, something like that.
yeah, I see,
And that,
the schools have breakfasts once in a while, they ask for volunteers to serve breakfast is one example, and there's probably more. But I guess we'll start with this. Can look for other opportunities.
I think it's important.
Going to Rosary on the 9th of February
You are,
to cook breakfast.
for as a county councillor,
Well, it asked Ray from the town and myself. Maybe just because we're family and moved this.
which is okay, whatever.
Or they like your cookie.
Yes, that's good, yeah, they'll like their cookie, anyway,
Making cookies?
no. Anyway, good idea, I think, and I think the staff should be included in it.
Yeah.
So what do we want to do with this and like set a budget to buy these t-shirts or
Yep, and then send me sizes, so we, or Teresa, then we can.
so for council and for any staff like what's, I mean. You're not gonna buy for all staff because some of them don't participate or what would you? I'll let you handle it. Just we need to know a budget and what rates and.
Well, maximum from our side would be 37, that's 40 times about 800 bucks. Let's make it 1,000, it should be less than 1,000.
So we can plan, so we'll motion it, Caleb.
Sure.
Your idea, so. Yeah. Okay, council should acknowledge.
And that's coming from council's grant, or what is it about?
Grants, yeah, and I think it's every year, right? So it's not like we're going to,
One time.
one time and then use your shirt to be a rag, right? Like we can be mindful and reuse them.
If they fit next year.
I thought about
Yeah, make double XL. Okay, any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? It's carried.
That was my motion, Mrs. Stepler, sorry.
Oh, yeah. She caught that. Item C is the 2026 Alberta Community Crime Prevention Conference. David, you attended this last year?
Yeah, and it is the best one. Would like to attend again, but of course on council's blessing, so, but, this is their big one that gets everybody together and it's a couple days of pretty good networking, pretty good work, and I mean, like the consideration is all of my boards and committees loop back to this, right, so. But always up for discussion.
Make that meeting to some feeling.
Okay, council Beckman has made a motion that we register Councillor Shug to attend. Any further discussion, questions? All in favor? It's carried.
Thank you, council.
Item D is the Northern Sunrise County's ICF agreement. Did you want to speak to this? This is just kind of a
I'll speak to that one.
copy and paste again, or?
So we are up for renewal of the ICF agreement. And I was wondering if council, and this is excluding the airport that they fund for us, that be a separate discussion that I'm having to ask later on. But this is just that we have, that I have the permission to continue for the next, at least a year on the same terms that we had so far. So they do everything they want for themselves and the same with us, except the airport, which is a share.
That's also,
It's outside, yes, sir.
yeah, I mean. We never had any real overlapping issues with them, and so yeah, I don't see any problem with proceeding for it, but it would only be a 1 year or another 3 year.
It would be up to council.
Us, other than the weed problem across the river, but you know, we talk about the business.
Yeah, that's probably the ag service board problem and keep that out of the ICF.
I'm to continue as well.
So you're content with just a 1 year term, because things could change?
Well, I'm content to do it for a 3-year term.
3 year.
I would probably get a little bit of resistance from them, is what I see, especially with the nuclear thing that might be going on.
Yeah, the previous one was 3 years, wasn't it?
I think it was, it's either 4 or 5 years and a half.
About 3 years.
But if you're okay with coming back and doing this again in a year, that's.
I would try for 3, and if they don't want to do that, you can do it for 1.
Well, you know what, any of these agreements, you can always exit them with notice, right? So if something changes drastically, there's always a way to get out of them. And not that we do on any hostile terms or anything. We're pretty good neighbors.
We would notice.
I just have something. Okay, so that makes sense. There's a draft motion there. Somebody wants to make that motion? What was that?
I said I would.
Okay, Councillor Halibisky,
For a 3 year. 3 year.
Yeah,
Okay, all,
yeah, mumble louder.
all in favor? It's carried. Item E is Mackenzie County meeting, so we talked about doing this pre-election and their CEO, and we kind of agreed that probably was pointless to do it pre-election because we didn't know what the outcome would be. So now here we are. Post January, post-election, and I don't know what we all have for topics. I mean, I know the Peace River Bridge crossing is one of them. But I talked to the Reeve out in Edmonton last week, and he's all on board for getting together yet and in person. We're all kind of agreed that these virtual things are not the same value in them. So I guess it's here for our discussion. If we, number one, do we want to have a meet with our council? 2, in person, and 3, where the location be? And I suggested maybe the RMA zone meeting coming up, but we don't know if full councils will be there. Plus, that's usually a fairly full day. So to try to get that in, probably not really reasonable. So looking for some possible dates, and anybody wants to drive across the Peace River on the ice bridge, this is your opportunity. It's open for 55 tons, so. Or they can come here, but
So, I mean, what are topics for discussion?
so I mean, we have, is our ICF with them expired too?
I am not sure. I'll have to look from that.
Then again, that's probably even less impact than Northern Sunrise, because we really share nothing with them other than the border. But, yeah, it seemed to me, I thought we had a few things that we wanted to talk about. But if it's only one item thing, well then maybe it's.
I mean, I think we should have topics that lined up, sure, if not,
No,
that's what we're point.
well, absolutely, we have to have a bit of an agenda.
Well, I would
Right.
suggest we schedule a preliminary meeting and pending topics that we can always cancel if there's not enough
They might
topics.
have something.
Yeah, because they also might.
Ready,
I thought we're talking about the farmland too, or something.
vote the which?
Farmland, you know, how they open up all that land and stuff.
And we may hear more about that today, or in camera presentation, but won't say anything more about that. Okay, well. What's everybody's calendars look like? So a few dates out. End of February,
The last week's really open.
yeah, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is open.
We've only got the 26th.
26 is open for you.
No, that's the one that I've got something on.
Oh, that's the only, okay.
And that's the last meeting, Jake is coming.
Right, but that'll be. He'll come here on the 24th, you know, I mean, other than that, well, we need to be around it. Well, let's try the 25th, we'll throw out a few dates for them, right, and then we can move in March. I mean, how's it that first week of March look?
We are in Calgary for the nuclear, SMR nuclear summit.
The whole week, or what days is it?
It is from the Monday to the Thursday.
Yeah, okay. So the second week? We have council on the 10th is all I've got so far.
The only other thing is if we're pushing it that far, like, are they gonna send their full council to RMA? Like, is that something we could piggyback out in RMA when there's a little bit more flexibility?
I can reach out to them if they are sending their full council, that might be the possibility.
Generally, they're a council of 10, right? So they shall generally have most of them come there.
So I thought, like, normally it's most of them, right?
And that's a pretty few days there too, but yeah, this was.
Yeah.
I anticipate a short meeting, right? Not gonna be like it's gonna be all afternoon or anything, so.
Yeah.
That would just really, and that's why I suggested the zone meeting, but,
Yeah.
but maybe the one in Edmonton, the provincial meeting would be better. Just save everybody a lot of traveling.
Well, and if it's only gonna be a brief meeting, then that's a lot of driving
Let's
for either.
do
of us.
that, Garrett, rather than even put them at, on the fifth of February, let's just ask Daryl what he thinks about trying to find a side room somewhere at RMA.
And or maybe, do you think the Zoom, the zone meeting would be too
No,
full?
it's pretty.
I think we're gonna stick to the provincial conference.
And then if they're not, then we can look at pitching dates out after that. For a short meeting, that's just a lot of travel, right? I don't know.
No.
If we're already there.
Yeah, right, so it's that free time.
Or reach out to you?
Okay, okay, so we'll get a motion, have our CEO request a meeting at the RMA convention in March. And a list of topics, right?
I can do that.
Okay, Councillor fees, I mean, that goes without putting in a motion, obviously. Okay, all in favor? Carried. Item F, the Women in the North Conference, turning up in the girl show, I believe. Yeah,
I say all of us women.
yeah. You already figured that out?
I was thinking about this too, and I was thinking that maybe we should open it up to some of our staff if they're interested.
We did that all.
Did we?
Yeah.
We did. That's a little part of the to decide. They was. Is it gonna go through new tax year?
They did that.
So we already give them sponsorship, right? Yeah. And if you get 3 or more, you get a 20% discount. Do we not get a registration with our sponsorship? Okay, so who wants to register?
I would like the ladies
You know,
to.
Brenda, Jim?
I'm good this time, thanks.
You know,
I got another commitment that I.
Are you Brenda?
I think I'll pass this turn as well.
Linda?
That's because they were passed.
Okay, so we'll-
Yeah.
let's-
Okay.
let's stop the other guys a little bit.
Oh, yeah, I'm fine, yeah.
Okay, well, we'll, give a motion to acknowledge receipt of the report and register Councillor Decken.
And maybe extend to 3 staff.
I think that's what we did last year.
He does get us 20% discount that.
Okay, who wants to make that motion? Okay, Councillor Reese, all in favor? Carried. Item G, meeting opportunity with Minister Dreeshen. The convention, I got that email too, and I replied that absolutely we'd like a meeting, that we tried and never successful, but we were successful one year, but it overlapped with the resolution session, or something was going on that we didn't want to miss. It wasn't at the convention center either, we had to go across the city to get there, so I don't think we've had any opportunity since then, so I just think let's ask.
Can I get an idea of topics?
Well, again, so
The bridge again?
yeah, the STIP funding and the passing lane at the Highway 35 at Cuban, turning lanes, I guess you call it.
Yeah,
So that's 3, it's probably the only ones.
and are we gonna keep him in the loop with the South Water Line?
We can mention that, I mean, maybe by then we'll have something to tell them.
I doubt it, but yeah.
Well, at least we can tell them we don't know anything yet, right?
Yeah.
I think we should probably schedule a meeting with Paul. Or Phil, I should say, between now and then. I don't know about the airport overlay, is there anything that we need to talk about that, is already been,
As far as I understand, he did submit it, so
yeah,
it's on the list there.
and that's still a couple years out yet, so.
Terry, I'd also like to ask if you can talk about why Highway 695 doesn't have a light like all the other ones do.
Highway 35.
Yeah, it's been brought up a few times and people have asked me to be.
695 Highway 35 junction, this is what we want, be specific about it.
Lots of traffic there in home, but
Then we may have something more important come up, but it's a pretty good list for 15 minutes. Okay, wants to make that motion? Brenda, okay, Councillor Sinski, all in favor? Carried. Item H is the Alberta Care Spring Seminar.
Well, there's possibly two members of the Long Lake Regional Landfill going.
Like 2 elected people. Isn't there?
Yeah. Berwin, Rep, and Robert McCall, possibly.
So you're not interested in sending them?
That's too far away. Too far to go.
It is a little ways, isn't it? All the way to books. So. Okay, well, we can just accept it for information then.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Councillor Reese moves to acknowledge receipt of the invitation, accept the information. All in favor? Carried. Item I is the Resource Center for Suicide Prevention, request for financial support. This is in from Casey.
The last request was 2023.
Yeah, maybe $2,000 on that to us. So it sounds like they're good and water financially.
There's no amount mentioned.
No more
no,
requested.
just
It was anything is welcome.
I will say that this is on our agenda for the mental health task force, because we need to get some provincial funding or some steady funding for groups like this that are trying to do the work. And right now the schools are struggling because they pulled back a lot of the mental health funding from their current programs. So we're trying to see if we can get them some more consistent funding, because I'm constantly having to come to the municipalities to stop on us too. Where that conversation will go, I can't say yet, but it is on the agenda for Thursday.
We could also ask them to come as a delegation, but I really think this is a good, my opinion.
It is. It'd be nice to know what their balance sheet looks like, right? So.
Like what are the expenses?
Yeah, like was $500 enough, or they need 5,000? You know, we get 3,000 before, but no idea. Maybe the interim, we could give them, $1,000 and then they could come and do a presentation, Because she was here once before, right?
Yeah, when they first opened.
Yeah.
I don't know, my gut feeling is it's definitely a cause near and dear to my heart. I mean, Morgan, her daughter was a childhood friend of mine, so it's personal, but I think that I would like to see what the task force comes up with for advocacy work, and then maybe in the meantime, we could get her to come and give a delegation, and by then we'll know what that group is doing too. This is an option.
So who, the task force, who sits on that? Oh,
All the regional partners, right?
Municipalities.
All 5 of us municipalities, plus Recovery Alberta, plus,
schools.
we don't have a school representative yet, but we have like the women's shelter and all the service providers that would kind of rally around this too, right? So I would just maybe like to see what we're doing there first.
Before we
Well,
open.
unless, like, depending on when their closure is. It's 1 or 6 months out, like
I'm thinking like we're gonna meet on Thursday, and then if we can get her as a delegation on our next council meeting, then it's only 2 weeks away, right? Like then, at least then we know what the other ones are doing, right? It might be an opportunity for me to hear what the other municipalities are doing as well, right?
Well, maybe ask in the request to come to council to bring us financials.
And she'll probably need a little bit of time, because I'm pretty sure that they're just an umbrella underneath Grand Prairie. Like I think Grand Prairie holds their finances and they operate them. I'm pretty sure.
But yeah,
We could probably give her a budget.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
okay, well, let's, we'll just table a financial request and request a delegation with some more detailed information, I guess. Okay.
I can make that motion.
Okay, Councillor Sharp makes that motion. Any further questions on that? It's all clearly clear. All in favor? It's carried. Item J is Alberta Emergency Management Agency, the elected official training. There was a bunch of text going around about that, and we knew where we're at, but
Yeah.
I gathered if we took the training, then we're good, right? So I've taken it probably 3 or 4 times over my.
That was the only reason I asked for it to be put on the agenda, because it seemed like nobody was sure. So now we are. And we can always go, I went on to that Alberta one where you're supposed to, if you want to take it, you know, an update or whatever, it's good for everything.
But I do think that there's a requirement to do a live exercise every so I don't know what the cycle is on that, but we probably do, because I think the last one we did was when we had the wildfire in 2019. We considered that that was a live exercise, because we actually did it, so.
Well, and I think Alan mentioned the last time he was here that we're probably due, because I know I've never taken one since I've been on council.
Yeah, so we have.
Something to look into, for
Let's
sure.
go on 6 years, 6, 7 years, you know, so. So I don't know if who we partner with, probably the town of Manning, obviously, but I don't know if Grimshaw and the Peace, because they're a pretty big undertaking, right? To do a live exercise, if you, tabletop was not so bad, but yeah, you said Alan's not there anymore?
No, he moved on, but I made contact with the new, it's a Chris guy, the guy that's on the our engineer.
Yeah, maybe you'll.
So just thinking out loud about those lab exercises, like those mock disasters that Dave is trying to rally all the municipalities on, is that something that you guys are talking about at that table?
It's very similar to that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so reach out to him, Chris, and see what our requirements are, and then I guess. How many municipalities would be?
Well, I think between us and the town of Manning, that's a good start. If any of the others wants to join, it would be good, but I also don't wanna make it too big, so I don't have the opportunity to put our staff into to actually get the experience from it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Like I said, tabletop, you can have everybody probably.
Yeah.
And live exercise, it might just get too overwhelming.
Yeah.
Okay, so. Yeah, have administration reach out. Okay. Council please, makes that motion, all in favor? Carried. Okay, we got an addition, item K, we'll do that, and we'll take a quick break. Like Reeve Municipal Funding, so the deadline has been extended.
Yeah, they extended the deadline for about 3 or 4 days till the end of the month. So, if council remembers, ISL presented an overview of the FCM local leadership for climate adaptation. It's a climate ready plans and process initiative to the Municipal Planning Commission on March last year. During that presentation, ISL highlighted that if successful, the grant will cover 80% of the eligible cost up to a maximum of $70,000. At the time, the full project cost was undetermined. MPC made a motion to approve ISL to submit an application on behalf of the county, and a letter of support was written. And now for the submission part of it, we got the pricing back, which would be $89,740 in total. So that would lead us with a contribution of $19,740 from our pockets. So we did a joint sort of letter of support from the town on that one. We can probably reach out and see if they're willing to fund something like that, but our contribution or the maximum contribution in the end would be 19,740.
And
And for that, we need a letter of, that confirms our commitment of the $15,000 fund. This is what I'm doing.
so I know what, I remember ISL presenting this, that was a while back. And could
So
we
what
get a
this would-
refresher on what the value of this is?
So what this would do, it's obtaining a better understanding of climate hazards and their impact and community-wide system, including people, infrastructure, agriculture, economy, and the environment, and provide baseline information to incorporate climate knowledge into daily operations and decision-making processes. So how ISL explained this to me, if there's like, for example, a drought, that's how it would impact either the county or, well, definitely the county or the town, and how we can actually put stuff in place that would alleviate the pressure that, for example, a drought would bring to the region. More than that,
So someone will come in and do an assessment
of all that.
of municipality.
So I recall when we agreed to this, I didn't remember a component where we had money, but I remember grant was not our substantial contribution.
It is.
And I guess I'm struggling to see what we get out of this at the end of it. It's all comes in, throw the numbers, this and that, but guess I'm unconvinced at this point.
Well, I mean, there probably is gonna be some baseline data, but is it worth $20,000? I don't think.
Well, that's what I'm questioning at this point.
No, I think, yeah, I don't see the value for us right now.
I think we have a pretty good idea of the risks that we're under. We have a road system that, flooding, we have threats to fires. I don't know what 20 grand is gonna buy us as far as increased awareness. Yeah, I can't support this at this point, unless somebody can make a better argument to me over.
No, and after going back through my notes, I have that it was solely a grant as well, so. For that reason alone, I wouldn't support it either, it's a lot of money right now.
Yeah, I recall that too, that we thought, well, why wouldn't we take this, because it's at no cost to us, but now turns out there is a cost to us, so.
Yeah.
So it's somewhat possibly misrepresented.
Maybe this applies more to the more populated municipalities, that have a lot more infrastructure at risk. Not saying that ours is any less at risk, but not to the same degree as maybe the city of High River or. Yeah, so now we have a better understanding of it. I see it in a different light as well. So I would be prepared to make the motion. We acknowledge receipt of the fund report, and we don't proceed with the application for the grant fund at this time. And I say this time, it might be the only time we get an opportunity, but well. I say withdraw. Perfect. I made that motion. Okay, any further discussion or thoughts? All in favor? We're judging by the text going back and forth, we're in favor, but then now we had a more. Don't be mad, Pearl.
Pearl won't be mad. ISL did the whole application. They've done the work on this.
So we've already paid for it.
So you've contributed and I have ISL labor to get it to this point.
No.
Well, they brought it to us.
I mean, under kind of a pretense that it was gonna be a,
Would have been nice if they could
Like
provide
that.
if that's.
Had we known this additional fee ahead of time, maybe we would not have entered into the exploration of it.
okay, we're getting through here pretty good, so let's take a break. Come back here in 10 minutes or so. Okay, let's move down to 6.1.2. Item A was an addition, a CO report.
Thank you, Chair. So from my point of view, I did a meeting where they sort of started with the introduction to responsible use of AI in government operations. That was quite interesting. I think as soon as we dealt in a little bit more details and depth, and then I'll probably extend that invite to some of the other staff members. And maybe if council wants to join on that one, because it is definitely something at the times that we will use more of, and the legal or the best way of using that, probably the legal way is that I want to make sure that we stay within, because I mean, you are sending some public information out to the cloud to be processed and then get it back. Although there is part of ChatGPT, the one that I normally use, is there is an option that they don't share whatever you put in there with something else, but I mean, you are relying on what they're saying. It's not like you can say with 100% certainty that they won't do that. So that is definitely something that we'll hear more of.
Just while you're on the subject of AI, because at the conference, Ag Service Board conference, they had a speaker that Robert Sack talked about AI in agriculture, but it applies everywhere. And it's such a movement towards it now, and he's proposing, and too bad Blake wasn't here, but putting a central hub in for all the information, because now you're dealing with AER and Alberta Agriculture and Irrigation, all these different departments, and everybody, in all the municipalities, everybody's got policies, and with AI, you can put that onto a central hub and a couple of clicks, and you can bring up what you're looking for, instead of, researching here and researching there, so, I mean, this is his vision, and I think I can see where a lot of agencies will move towards something like that, so, yeah.
Well, and the air shed, so like Cramp, the one that we just recently joined, they're doing exactly the same thing, they're consulting and building an air hub for air quality, and same thing, they're like, why do we have all these different little air sheds doing their own thing when we can just pull it all together and have one hub? So.
But it is a mighty tool. I mean, with Teresa did the logo for PrEP, I mean, that was amazing. I mean, she was never a graphic designer by trade, and we got that, and so it's an amazing tool to have.
And he also recommended a different, not chat
Yeah.
GPI, it was Perplexity.
Well, that's to replace Google, he said, well, an alternate to Google is Perplexity, and I don't know why, he never really said, quit using Google and use Perplexity, he said.
Because of better information or something, it's less challenging than I understood.
Maybe he had a bad experience with Google, and he was sure it told me Perplexity, so. Good, sorry, carry on with you.
No problem. And then I've joined a series of meetings, monthly meetings for the next 12 months. We started off with the first month from Circular Materials. They're the group that can look after the recycling, and they're giving us more and more information back. So I'll start sharing that soon. We went to the Government of Alberta Nuclear Panel Roundtable. Interesting. There was a lot of positives from a lot of neighbors in there. That's really sort of rubbing their hands together. If we don't go forward with that on our side, that they would definitely be interested.
Could we just go back to number 2, that working group you joined, so is that a province-wide working group, or
It
is it?
is a problem, fine.
Okay. Sorry.
No problem. And then we had the snowstorm after action meeting. That was actually quite a good meeting. I did thank staff from council and everybody for the job they did. I think they did really well given on the circumstances we had. We were going through some things that we can do better in future, and hopefully learn from from all of this, but this was almost close to declaring a disaster in the area, state of emergency, so it was really that bad. If I look at the amount of snow that we had. I had a discussion with some ratepayers about it, and there was like, we couldn't get a consensus whether it was 25 or 50 years of bad snow, but it's quite a substantial amount.
Although definitely, this is not it was out of normal type of circumstances, right? I mean, we've had them probably before, and I don't remember if it's been 30 or 40 or 50 years, but I mean, we've had lots of snow, but not all in 2 weeks.
Right.
Is probably the difference.
And it's not just the huge amount of snow, it's also the extreme cold temperature we have, because that limits the response that we could have to the snow part of it. So, but yeah.
And then the third thing, happened at Christmas time too, right? So people were giving up their time with family to go out and work, which was
Absolutely, yeah. So, yeah. They were really happy with the thanks we sent, so that's cool. And then the last one is I met with the residents and we went over some concerns they had about the snow removal and stuff like that. And I've met with Charles on that, so that's something that we will address going forward. The questions if there's
What were some of their concerns?
some of the concerns were us plowing a road that was a field access, and then people used it, they got stuck on the road and stuff like that. But they only plowed it halfway and then turned around, didn't complete the whole route. That's one of the routes that we will add to the reclassification list that we're doing. So that's one of them. It's actually a route that we should do, but in my opinion. And the concerns that we did get is whether it's contractors or staff doing plowing, whether it's grading for gravel or for snow clearing, that they back the blade up. I asked them to contact me immediately if that happens, and I will personally drive out there and sort that out, because that to me would be unacceptable. So hopefully we'll get some feedback from the residents on
Like on the
when
driveways.
that happens. Yeah,
When they're going
no, not just the driveways, but I'm talking about in the road. The statements
Oh.
were made that they would actually just drive up and down the roads, not clearing, but just driving. I can't comment on that because I haven't seen it and there was no evidence of that. So hopefully they will reach out.
All right, thanks, Gary. Any questions on the report? No? Okay, Mr. Good. Get a motion. Martin, you make
Make the motion to.
Okay, Councillor Levinsky moves to acknowledge the CEO report, accept the information, all in favor, carried. Move down to 6.1.5, item A, Director of Finance report.
That will be,
Pardon?
that will be,
Oh,
you just go.
okay. Take her away, Josh.
Okay, so just so you guys don't think I forgot about it, preliminary budget, my intent is to bring that package back to you for adoption at the next meeting. As of right now, we've just approved 25% of last year's operating budget by way of motion in December. So I was waiting on a few changes. I've got most of what I need. The only thing, like always, that won't be accurate is the school requisition. We followed last year, we won't have that until June, so let's see what they do with that. Grazing lease taxes, so I had it on here as a placeholder. I actually met with Brownlee yesterday afternoon, right before the end of the day. And funny enough, got an email from our assessor as well at the end of last week. So the original complainant that started this whole discussion with you guys had brought forward a letter, or an email rather, that was being doled out by somebody with the province that nobody can really figure out who he is. But he has caused quite a disruption in this, to the point where many assessors and many organizations are changing the way they do this, and essentially going away from one role per legal land location and back to a master roll. Or lease number essentially.
So Josh, was that actually that email from the province or from the Alberta Grazing Lease
There was a
Association?
guy from the at gov.ab.ca,
Because there was.
but I have no idea who he is, neither does our assessor, neither does the lawyer that I spoke with.
Because there is another organization,
Yeah.
the Leaseholders Association.
That was fighting this as
I
well.
think they're the ones that kind of stirred the pot.
So the unfortunate reality is that many municipalities are just succumbing to peer pressure and changing this. And I'm paraphrasing the legal advice, I don't have an actual written submission from them yet, but in the simplest terms possible. Probably unlikely you're gonna win this when everybody's rolling over and changing it, and there is. Whether it's valid or not, direction from the province being doled out now to modify how we're doing this. So. You can read into that, that means. Go back to a master roll number. Away from the implications of a minimum tax levy per quarter section or per parcel. Personally, I do not agree with that at all, but at the same time. The difference in money that is going to have here compared to the legal implications and fees and time it would take to execute this. Probably not. Unfortunately.
And you said, unfortunately, we're probably not gonna win it. I don't think we're trying to win anything. We're just kind of stuck in the middle here, right?
Well, yeah, not win, but if you were going to voice your concern with this and choose to do what we're doing currently. That's why I say win, Terry, right? It's yeah.
And then, you know what, sorry, Ag Service Board, that's one thing, all the networking we did, never got a chance to bring it up, because I think it was County of Grand Prairie. Who were kind of leading the charge on that, right? And the only one I really knew there was Karen Roosevelt, who else was on their board.
But they were originally leading the charge to have these separated and assessed and taxed like we are, unless they've changed their opinion.
But they're the ones that kind of put a moratorium on it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So they flopped when they got this letter from the government. Was how it was explained to me.
Very poorly written legislation, that could probably be brought to the municipal affairs minister's attention. At the very least, but, I can't quantify the difference to you overall as of right now, but, something that we may have to revisit because. Obviously, what that means is there's some of these leases that are fairly sizable. That may or may not be subject to now $50 in taxes a year, so you guys. Can determine whether or not you think that is appropriate or applicable. We can't really do that on a case by case basis. You have one minimum tax levy. So if your assessed value times your mill rate is less than that, it gets bumped up, but it's $50. Those range all over the province. I'm quite certain your neighbor to the north is $600. So, and it's kind of everywhere in between, depending on who you look at.
So they're all looking at rolling back for like this tax season.
And our assessor's prepared to do that. It's just, quite frankly, an administrative pain in the butt. Sure. But he's ready, we can do it. We will, I guess, given our legal advice, unless council really wants to dispute this. Seeing no hands, no. Yeah. It's, again, probably not worth the, this would go through the Land and Property Rights Tribunal, where having just seen our migration through that with our other assessment appeal info. To spend money and wait 3 years to get a decision is not really something that I'm excited for. So I guess we will follow suit and probably revisit, at the very least, I'll ask a question about our minimum tax levies when we bring that property tax bylaw to you guys this year. Any other questions or comments on that?
You have to pay them back.
Absolutely not.
No, thank God.
I made that joke to Garrett. I said, if you guys retroactively apply that the last 10 years, I'll have to get my resignation.
Thanks for all the work that you did on it, Josh, like I know it was
Yeah.
brought to me and nobody was clear and I know it was legwork, so I appreciate you looking into it, so now we know, right?
It's a,
Just, maybe just for clarification, is that on, that's only on the what's in grazing leases? It's not on the minimum amount for normal property taxes?
that doesn't make sense. Leases, the leases are the only thing that are the issue because of how they're taxed. So any
I
single
just wanna
parcel, like
confirm.
residential parcel, is still assessed as a parcel. It's the legislation specifically lists, anything held by lease, and the reason why they're different is because they'd otherwise be crown land and they'd be exempt. When they become a leased property, they become taxable.
So farmland lease and grazing lease, they're both in the
Same
same
thing.
category.
But if somebody has a title to a bush quiver in the middle of nowhere, that's assessed at. And that $50 is
situation.
nothing to do with that, right?
Yeah.
They could
Title
have-
of land is totally different.
They could have 10 quarters of wasteland in the
Yeah.
middle of nowhere, still get taxed individually.
Yeah.
I think that.
As they should, and hopefully we can agree on that. It's just, yeah, the definition of parcel is where that gets muddied there, and they tried, yeah, depends how you interpret it. The lawyers would willingly argue either way if you're willing to pay them. Which is great advice. So the next one, just a heads up with the Mercer assessment appeal. We had formal communication of the second of the 3 years. So they decided on the original one. And then with 2025's taxes, we were still in that tax year, so they were able to just do it as a revised assessment. So they've done that. So a refund of that big number I've expressed there, $923-ish thousand, was actually just paid back to them yesterday. So we still have 2024's taxes. They've got an agreement in principle, but the LPRT has to give their approval to it. So that they can be a part of it, I guess, and maybe get paid, I don't know.
That first one, you already refunded, that was
Yeah,
2023,
That was 2023 tax year, yeah,
so could they skip to 25 and then back to 24?
because it was still an open tax year, so they could settle it by way of revision. So without the LPRT. So that's why they did that. Not sure whose decision that was. I think the provincial assessor's office just agreed with the appellant, so they were able to work on that one quite quickly. Yeah, and they've already communicated what the adjustment is to be, or the rationale of how they've got there, but I have to wait until we have the official sign off from the Land and Property Rights Tribunal before I can process and refund that one. I've been in communication with Mercer about that, and they understand, so we're all good there. Any more questions or comments on that one? So last one, I just wanted to check in because I gave you guys all your laptops and then left on holidays. Chuckled all the way to the Dominican, but it's hopefully working well. Is everybody actually signed into their office apps on their computer? So like the Outlook app itself, or are you using a web browser? And if you look at me confused, I'll speak with you after.
It's the second option.
The second option, okay,
The app was a little
Yeah.
icon on the
Yeah.
bottom.
Yeah.
So.
the app or the program, whatever you want to call it, so your licenses have changed to permit that. And then we did that because we're gonna be moving towards that SharePoint drive. Probably in the next month as well, where you can access all your files. So hopefully you're finding these a little bit more useful. And Terry asked just before the meeting about email signatures. You're on a new device now, so probably we have to update them back to what they were. So Trent has sent you each an email with the file.
Yeah.
If you need help getting that back in your signature, I can do it after the meeting here. Or Trent,
Yeah, I went automatic.
which, yeah, I thought it should have, so that's good.
I think I'm the only one.
Okay, so just see me after and let it.
Some of us are struggling with the new technology that I'm finding not as user friendly as iPads.
Okay,
I did not say anything.
it's 6-1, I'll still take the win over Gerhard, but I'm happy to give you just some. Like a run through, Brent, just.
Yeah, I mean, I'm able to read email, I said.
Yeah. Yeah, I think,
Like, for example, I wasn't able to connect to the internet, my place, it didn't recognize it.
weird,
But it did offer me a video game, so.
there you go. Pros and cons, yeah. But yeah, just if we can today, even Brent after the meeting, or if today doesn't work, just pop in or schedule some time and we can sort it out pretty quickly. I'll be a lot more helpful with these over the iPads, so.
Hey, thanks, Josh. Any other questions on this report? Not to get
Oh,
motion.
actually, one more verbal thing, just to, thought about this almost, rural renewal stream, remember we had kind of paused this, province had changed it, and so the biggest change was they were giving everybody a fixed amount of letters that we were able to provide, endorsement letters. So we got our amount Friday afternoon, it is 17. I just wanted to let you know that I'll be bringing you back a formal report of what that means for us on the next meeting. But just so you know, we do have it. I've just kind of paused issuing new letters. There's about 6 people that are asking me. And I'll explain why at the next meeting, I guess, because that's got some implications to it. 17, yeah, I have no idea. They just emailed me and said your allocation is 17. Great, thank you.
Okay, thanks. Okay, motion to accept the Director of Finance report.
Make that motion.
Councilor Director, all in favor? Okay, we'll adjourn the meeting and we'll move to our Ag Service Board agenda. Like,
What's that?
Tree.
Oh,
it's got all the information about the summer tour on there.
medicated?
Okay, call the meeting to order at 10:12. To the agenda, any additions to the agenda?
Scrap the ag fieldman report off of it. There's no report. It's the only change I have.
Okay, 63.01 item A, we will delete. No additions, one deletion. Get a motion to accept the agenda, the changes. Councilor Alavisky, all in favor, carried. Minutes from December the 9th. Any discussion arising from those? Not get a
I'll
motion.
move it back.
Okay, Councilor Chudden needs to adopt the minutes from December 9th, all in favor? Carried. Take us right down to 6302. Item A, introduce a appeal committee.
Standard calendar appointment at the start of every year on the joint weed and pest board we sit on with Big Lakes County, Greenview, and Northern Sunrise. Basically just have to appoint this every year. So the ASB will, I guess, accept the recommendation, and then it'll have to be, after you adjourn this meeting, go back to your council meeting, the local authority will have to accept it by resolution. On the back of the sheet, you see the list with all the contact details of everybody we're appointing to that board.
Can we just fix the spelling on my name?
On the back list,
K-A-Y-L-N.
Kayln. We can easily do that. I think,
Thanks for sweetening them up, Terry. We're going.
Teresa already has it spelt right in the motion there anyways. So we'll just get the board to accept that list and make the recommendation to council.
Yep, so. Full council, full board membership is appointed, so.
For ours, yeah, unless you guys don't, like, unless only 3 of you wanna do it, don't really matter.
Well,
I'll make the motion.
okay, Councilor Silsky moves that we appoint all board members to the appeal committee. All in favor? Carried. And last thing is 26 Ag Service Board Summer Tour, something that's been kind of.
Neglected for,
But
I don't know when the last one was, 2018 maybe?
I can't remember, it's been a long time.
It's been a while. I know COVID kind of put the whole screaming brakes on it. I don't know if anybody if you just want to accept this for information now, seeing how far out it is, or if some of you want us to like start booking you in, but you can see even in like the agenda, it's like pretty preliminary. It just says tour stop 4, tour stop 5, because they obviously don't have it all planned out yet. So it's mostly Terry passed this along to us from conference, so we kind of stuck it in there so some of you guys can save the date in your calendar, but I doubt anybody's gonna wanna confirm that far out, so maybe we can just accept for information and bring it back to you guys in like May.
Yeah, I don't know if there's. Is there any limit, how many? I don't think so, right? You know, take anybody that wants to go.
Yeah, if all of you wanna go, if none of you wanna
I
go.
mean, like if the whole province, you know, everybody goes, is there, do they have a cap on it? I don't think so.
I've never seen them have a cap on it, ever. It just hotels might be an issue, like if you have to find a different hotel or whatever.
There's a QR code you can scan and.
Yeah. We have all that.
Gives it details on it. They had a kind of neat little video at the conference there showcasing the municipality and.
Teresa's worried about hotels, like, April and May is probably soon enough to firmly book hotels that many months out, or what do you? Yeah, there is that option as well. You pulled a camper to Grand Prairie,
You
didn't
know,
you?
I know I'm not able to go to this one as much as I'd like to, but I got another commitment that week, so.
So would you like us to pre-book like 3 hotels if that helps Teresa?
No,
April or May, or what would you?
so when you're still here, when you. you're still
April?
here.
Second week of April? For first council meeting in April?
First one would be on, just because like I say, the hotel rooms could start to. Be tight to get, if you want to stay in Stratford, then you can drive back to Delta.
We could bring it back earlier too, if they give us more of a concrete agenda with booking codes. Whenever that comes out too, I can give it to Teresa and she can pre-book a few, and then we can bring it to council as soon as it's available. Cause if they don't even have the firm agenda with booking codes and proposed hotels with like booking deals, there's probably no point in jumping the gun until they provide that. Who knows, they still might cancel, I don't know, last time, I think Wheatland was the last one that was saying they were gonna do it, and then COVID kinda changed that, but.
Okay, so we'll have a motion to go on receipt and bring it back to the. April SB agenda?
Yep.
That works, okay, all in favor, carried. And then last on correspondence, for your review is the letter from Big Lakes. With traceability, any pushback.
There was also a resolution at the conference, if any of you guys that attended the conference have anything to speak on the conference, you guys could touch on that before the agenda's over. If none of you have much of a report, that's fine too.
I mean, a lot of mixed opinions on it, I guess, saying this has been around for a while, the traceability, they're just kind of implementing what was talked about 6 years ago or whatever it was, and but still, the general feeling was there was another overreach that this isn't necessary to be the trace what we have, don't fix something that's broken, right? That isn't broken, I should say.
So they did pass it?
Yeah, oh yeah, passed, yeah.
Yeah, well, if you just want to accept it all for information.
Yeah, we can just acknowledge receipt from the letter from Big Lakes and accept the information, I guess. Councillor Shug, all in favor? Carried. And that's it. Adjourned meeting. Thanks, Blake.
Yeah, no problem. You guys will make the motion on the council agenda. You want me to stick around for that? To appoint the board?
Well,
To appoint the board by the local authority?
No, you don't have to stick on.
Perfect. Okay. Have a good morning. Later. Yeah.
Okay, we're a little bit early for a delegation, but I see they're here, so we could, what do we got? Left two, quickly run through. So better to probably start earlier. Anyway. Okay, so this delegation is going to be in camera, so I would have to ask for motion to go in camera and clear the room, and we'll come back out of camera and no later than 11. Maybe sooner.
Bill.
I'll move. Please move to the camera, all in favor, carried.
Okay, so we'll call the Municipal Planning Commission meeting to order at 11:32.
It's Charles.
Is it?
The adoption of the agenda, if there's anybody has anything to add to the agenda?
I'll move adoption.
You sure it's Charles that one?
It is next to the agenda.
Brandon,
He said his chance, sorry.
And with adoption, all in favor? Carried. Move down to the minutes of the January 13th meeting, during the errors or omissions. Along with Councillor, none, Councillor Shug. Motion to accept them as all in favor? Carried. Okay, so we don't have any, we'll just move to 4.1B1, development permit CP-25-44. It looks like Gail, you're going to present that.
Yes, I am. Thank you. So the applicant proposes a 45-meter communication tower on the southwest of 308821 west of the 5th. The quarter section is the designated Agriculture General A District. The proposed tower is defined as public utility and listed as a discretionary use within this district. The applicant has indicated that the tower, made of steel, requires a pile footing with safety light and lightning protection and will be located within a fenced 3-meter by 3-meter compound. The tower is the 8th application that has been submitted by the applicant. The quarter section is located at the northeast corner of Township Road 884 and Range Road 220, 7.4 kilometers west of Peace River and 12.3 kilometers southeast of Deadwood. There is no residential development on the quarter section. The quarter section is heavily treed on the southern half with an unnamed watercourse running diagonally throughout the quarter. The northern portion of the quarter has been partially cleared with a balance in agriculture production. The proposed tower is in the southeast corner of the quarter section. The proposed development meets all regulations of the A District. Range Road 220 and a portion of Township Road 884 adjacent the south boundary on the east half of the quarter section is designated a field access road, while a portion of Township Road 884 adjacent the south boundary on the west half of the quarter section is designated a residential road. Access to the tower site is located off Township Road 884 near the southeast corner of the quarter section. The applicant, in accordance with Industry Canada requirements, advertised the location and a description of the proposed development in the Mile Zero banner post on November 12, 2025. No comments and/or concerns were received from members of the public. No additional notification was required as per Section 4.2 of the Innovation, Science and Economic Development Canada and Section 1.23.15 of the county's land use bylaw. Alberta Energy Regulator and the county both responded and indicated they had no concerns with the proposed development. It is recommended that the application for the location of a 45-meter communication tower on the southwest of 308821 west of the 5th be approved, subject to the 7 conditions outlined.
Thank you, Gail.
Thank you.
Any questions for Gail?
I'm sorry, pardon me?
Oh, I just was asking council if they had any questions.
Oh.
for you. Seeing none, we have a motion. Councillor Reese. All in favor? Carried. We will adjourn the MPC meeting at 11:36.
Okay, you,
Thank you.
okay, well, reconvene regular meeting. Is it ready? Ready? So it's, you know, it was Councillor Whiskey come out of camera at 11:28. Okay, go back to the bottom of page 1, 6.1.6. Surplus items report wants to take us through that.
Hi, Ken, Terry. Yeah, I'm here. So, as we've discussed, we've kind of gone through the office, found a bunch of
stuff that's not needed anymore, council's policy is to declare it as surplus so that we can sell it or dispose of it. One thing as well, there is, scroll down, Gerhard, there is council's iPads. I don't know if anybody is buying theirs out or not.
In the past, we have just, we were allowed to keep them.
Yeah, there was declared no value on them. I don't know. Or-
Yeah, up to you guys what you want to do.
So in an effort to ensure council can communicate with administration, ratepayers, governments, this is out of the remuneration policy, council remuneration policy. These computers are the property of the county of Northern Ireland and should be used to conduct county business. Reasonable personal use is acceptable. These items will be required to be returned once a councillor no longer holds a position in office. All recurring charges will be terminated at that time. At the end of council's term, administration may take these items for purchase using a reasonable form of depreciation to determine the price. Josh and I had a discussion about that. I think in past, you guys had a value of $50 to it.
Yeah.
So we would ask council if they want to keep the tablets to buy it out for $50 as per the previous.
Plus GST.
That's GST.
Yeah.
That's okay. I noticed that there's no price on these surplus things either.
No, there would not be it would go out of 10. So if council can indicate who wants to keep their tablets, just let us know, and then the rest will add to the surplus list.
But you'll need a motion to declare these other items as surplus, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So I guess we should probably let you know now, so you know whether to put the tablets on there. I would keep mine.
No, I'll keep mine.
Okay.
Yeah, I keep mine too, it's still.
You can have my back, the cratered about a year ago.
Oh. That's what I was saying.
So you keep yours?
Yeah.
So D1 surplus one, surplus one, which is
So good.
probably
No, it's,
a bookend.
I think they should all be declared surplus. They have the option to purchase it.
Yeah.
And Brent's will just auction off to smash with it.
Maybe we have to pay Brent for it.
Okay, so we need a motion that we will declare all the items listed, less the iPads, right? Does that make sense? Is that clear enough, Charles?
Yeah, no, that works for me.
Okay, Councillor Lincoln makes that motion. All in favor? Carried. Okay, page 2. So, Rule 6.2.6, item A is land use bylaw enforcement report.
Hi. Okay, so as you remember, due to the increase in non-permitted development, council had directed administration to reach out to their municipalities to see what they do for enforcement of their land use bylaw. I collected from, I believe, 16 total municipalities. There's a few others that I didn't get to include in here. What they do and how they enforce contravention issues with their land use bylaw. For the most part, all municipalities issue stop orders when they need to. It's a right afforded to us by the MGA. It allows you to stop whatever is occurring and generally correct, and then put those costs onto the tax roll of the property that is no longer in compliance so that you can bring them into compliance. This would be for issues like sewer. When they're out of compliance there, we actually have the right to go in and correct that and send them the bill. If they didn't get a permit, we can put a stop order preventing any further development until they're into compliance.
So that X actually indicates a check mark, they do.
Yes. Yes, that means that they are doing the stop order. Some include the language to put it onto their tax rolls and others do not, but they do have the right to, from what I understand. 4 additional municipalities that I obtained their information from, just for your information, is High Level, Manning, Grimshaw, and Peace River Town as well. I'll speak to those later. I summarized the contraventions below. So we have the stop orders first. Then generally the language stating they have the right to enter the property, bring it to compliance. And then they also have penalties and violation tickets. These are generally seen as separate within the bylaws, so I kept them that way. The fine not exceeding $10,000, most municipalities utilize that to recoup those costs associated with the stop order, because correcting a sewer could get into those higher cost issues. If we go through this one by one here, the ones that do have penalties, they're pretty much $10,000 consistently, so I'll leave those there. I'll break down the fines. And then I'll also put into perspective what that means for our municipality. So in 2025, since April, when I took the position, we had 11 individuals who were in contravention of the bylaw. Of those individuals, 2 of them, it took in excess of 3 months to get into compliance, or they're still working on it. 6 of them, it took within 3 months to get in compliance, and 3 were minor contraventions of the bylaw, like a variance would be needed. So out of those, if we assumed what that would look like in our county for fines, if we assumed I issue you a fine and you're going to get moving, you're going to get this fixed in a week because now there's charges associated, I broke down what that cost meant. So if we took the approach of MD of Opportunity or Big Lakes, each contravention within 1 week would have fines of $3,250 for a 2025 summary value of the 11 properties being an average $35,750, assuming they only took 1 week. Our longest standing property is at 245 days in contravention of provincial legislation and our land use bylaw. That person would pay $122,000 in fines.
They would be charged $120,000.
Yes, they would be charged $122,000 in fines. In reality, as most people obtain a fine, that motivates them. They're not going to take 245 days. The problem that we're running into right now is when someone says, I'm not in compliance, they say to me, what are you going to do about it? There is nothing I can really say other than stop order. Realistically, if I was receiving a fine, I could not imagine waiting 245 days to pay that fine or fix that problem. So I don't think it would ever obtain to such high values, but that's why I gave the 1 week ration. Peace River and Fairview MDs, they cap it at $2,500 per contravention. So the way that theirs works is you're going to see a fine of $500 per day. Every day that the contravention continues is considered a new violation, and then they cap it at $2,500. So we would be looking at, between the 11 properties, $27,500 if we assumed they were in contravention of a week. Lesser Slave Lake does $500 for the first offense and $1,000 for each subsequent offense in that year. Each day of breaching the bylaw is considered a new offense. If we were to take their approach, assuming a 1 week contravention would be a $6,500 fine for someone. With our 11 properties that were in contravention, that would be $71,500.
Yeah, can I just make a comment on that?
Yeah.
Please, this is not to be seen as a fundraising exercise. We want people to comply with the land use bylaw exercise.
This is just to understand what those costs would be to those individuals that are out of compliance. If we were to do Birch Hills, they take a very interesting approach. So instead of giving you a penalty for a number of days that you were out of compliance, they simply have a higher application fee. You applied after you developed, so you're not going to get that same rate that everyone else gets. They typically charge $120 for an application fee plus an additional $20 for every 50K in value you go up. Versus if you were to apply after the fact, it's a $500 application fee. What that looks like for most of our applications based on their value would be $560 application fee instead of 100. And that would have been a $5,000 fine annually for the 11 properties total. High level. So I don't have theirs on this explanatory sheet for you, but I did look into what other municipalities do as well. So High Level has a $500 first offense, and then they have a $2,500 subsequent offense, and each day in contravention is considered a subsequent offense. If we were to take their approach, on average, each non-permitted development in our county would pay $15,500 for a 2025 summary of $170,000. Town of Peace River has a perhaps more motivating approach. The first day is a $1,000 fine. The second day is a $2,000 fine. Every day after that is a $5,000 fine. If we were to take that approach, one person in contravention for 1 week would pay $28,000. For the 11 properties that we had, that's $308,000. Obviously, that's quite steep. But it does show that there's other approaches than just a stop order, whether that be these smaller fines with a cap, like we see in MD of Fairview or MD of Peace at that $2,500 cap, or if you are looking to have more of a cumulative approach, that is also possible, where the other municipalities have, where the first day is one price, the second day it continues, and so on and so forth. Maybe that's not a daily fine for us, maybe it is. That's something council would really need to discuss. It could even be weeks of contravention, right? These are just guidelines of what other people did. We have a lot of people.
Comment on that also, Chair, if I may, I mean, the idea here is to have this is sort of a deterrent. So start off with the initial fine that is quite substantial, that people actually do development permits and stuff like that. Instead of, it's fine, I'll ask for permission afterwards, I'll pay the $500 fine. It's only $400 more than I would actually do.
The position we're in right now is somebody who applies late and didn't get it done properly pays the same as someone who did. And that's $100, right? It's a pretty cheap permit. A lot of people in our county like to apply to get a development permit the day after their house moved on. And now we are trying to correct all of these legislative issues, and they've got to get someone to move the house because it's not in the right spot, or all of those problems. We're trying to tackle the problem before it becomes an issue, and then give them a deterrent to not break our rules.
An important distinction, correct me if I'm wrong, but the biggest contravention I see is not actually our rules. It's
Provincial.
provincial rules, and specifically related to wastewater disposal. So
We wouldn't be charging a fee for that, but we wouldn't be charging them.
our land use bylaw and everything you approve says that they have to adhere to those standards. So
Yeah.
when they don't, you would, and they would be in contravention.
And the other land use bylaws that tackle that generally indicate that if it's contravention of any of the provincial legislation that is development in which the development authority of the county would issue approval of. So anything we can approve that we let slide with them not being in compliance, we could put a fine on. If that makes sense.
So the province sets most of the ones we're dealing with, yet they don't take any.
They do have enforcement options, but this is a protection for our county too. It's saying if you break the province's rules or our land use bylaw, we will penalize you.
Yeah, and the reason why is that it creates an administrative burden on our end ultimately to correct it, right? We're the ones dealing with them very seldomly as a developer dealing directly with the province. It happens here to get all the approvals. You guys don't also have an army of people though who are going out and inspecting all these properties. So it's just done through wording, right? You will adhere to these standards, you will adhere to all of these conditions every time you approve one. That's the reason why, right?
So is there a reoccurring non-compliance? There's a variety of things, like, is there something?
The biggest issue is people building or moving buildings on unpermitted. And then we're after the fact trying to bring them into compliance on the sewage regulation, on the setbacks within our own bylaw. A lot of people don't understand that you can't build right on your property line, your house. You can't put it right there. It's unfortunately a growing issue too, because some of the people who, for lack of a better term, got away with not getting a permit from the start and got it after the fact, that has spread. The fact that they got away with it has spread to their friends, coworkers, neighbors, loved ones. They know that you can move a house into our county, and you can either pay the $100 now, or you can pay the $100 in 5 years and see if the assessor catches you.
And be out of compliance.
Be out of compliance, and we sometimes find out because they call and say my road isn't getting graded because it's a field access and there's not supposed to be a house down there, and you've moved a house on there and you've lived there illegally for 2 years, and now we're finding out because you're complaining. And you have a right to complain about the road not being graded if we knew you lived there.
So right now, that's only $100 flat rate, or?
It's $50
Um,
if your value is under 250.
Both up by value.
There's two prices.
Oh.
If you're under 250, it's 50. If you're over 250 in value, it's 100.
And if it's an agricultural building with a whole shed to store your equipment and you don't get a permit.
If you're agriculturally zoned.
And won't need a permit.
No.
Only
For-
residents.
Yeah, only for agricultural buildings on agricultural zoned land. Just want to keep that in the record.
These fines are pretty heavy.
They are. Some of those bylaws, the heavier handed ones, they're also using it, I think, to fund their bylaw enforcement. We can have that. I think what we need to have is maybe some sort of guardrail to keep people following the bylaw, because right now with no consequence, it's kind of what's the point is the feedback we get. I don't think we need to be generating $308,000 a year. That's pretty crazy. We're just trying to get people to understand that you need to follow the rules. And they exist for a reason, and if you don't like them, you can make an amendment application.
And also, Chair, but maybe we can definitely start off with advertising this for the next 6 months and only start penalizing after the 6 months. We don't have to start penalizing straight away, but it is definitely something that we have to look at, because like I said before, it's easier to say, hey, sorry, than 2 years later. Then, I mean, if it's $100, it's not gonna break the bank if you install a new house on your property.
And it's also free to pick up the phone and call Pearl to see if you need one. Right, we have a person in here full time that can answer that question.
So for today's purposes, this was just for information, what you collected. We don't-
Yes.
Our land use bylaw, we don't have.
We have the opportunity to do a stop order. We don't have the verbiage to put it onto tax roll that some counties have. I think that would be a value.
It's just. We still could, it would just be
Yeah,
our purpose.
So I think, we have to bring that back to us, right? And what
yeah.
you could propose that council can discuss. And this is good information what you gathered, kind of see what our neighbors are doing, but really there's nothing for us to.
I guess the first question is, do you see more value in the violation tickets or in a higher application fee for unpermitted development later on? Both, maybe a mixed approach.
I think, well, there has to be a consequence. You can't get to pay the same rate as somebody who went through the steps. At the same time, like, it needs to be enough to deter them, but not enough that it's unrealistic, like $10,000 a day or $1,000 a day going up.
Right.
Are you kidding me? But, you know, it's gotta be a balance.
$250 for the first one is not much of a deterrent.
I would agree.
But we're not gonna decide that today. I think exactly what Jared said, we gotta get it more of an awareness campaign out there that people. We've always done it this way, although that's no longer acceptable, so I don't know how you do that if you. Social media, mailouts, put something in the tax notices.
That's exactly what I was putting my hand up. If we can get like a direction from council, then we can put it out to the tax notices in June, May.
Well, I think it'd be good to do it before construction season starts.
Can we maybe get a motion from council to look at making suggestions of the land use bylaw amendment for this. So that we can actually start with this and bring it back for the next council meeting.
Maybe even end of February, because at the start of February, I will be going to that planning 101 where they'll
Yep.
speak on bylaw enforcement and land use bylaw contravention.
And then after that, I'm gonna appoint Paul as the stick, as Terry called it before.
But in the meantime, I think you can come up with something for social media, at least, or the website, just to put the message out that,
We are discussing this at the very least.
well, that there is a process that, you know,
Mhm.
because right now, and you know what, I look back 40 years ago, I was probably guilty of that too. I'm just gonna go ahead and do this, and I don't need to, I think people have that.
I wanna guard you against all of what you're saying now, because we might be going after you then.
And that's fine.
I'm kidding.
We do have a weekly ad in the paper, a nearly weekly ad in the paper, letting people know they can always contact me for questions regarding planning and development, and that we do have rules. I also like to make friends with all the realtors around, so if you got somebody's contact, send them my way.
And also, when we do the first reading of this proposed bylaw change, there will be what's the name after, a public hearing afterwards, so we can advertise that as well.
Mhm.
But I would really urge council to make a decision on that one to go ahead quite soon, so that we can get it out with the tax notice as well.
Yeah, we bring it back to us. And
Okay.
so for today's purposes, we'll just acknowledge receiving this report that Earl did a lot of work on, and
Thank you.
it was great. I'm not saying it gives us a foundation, but it does kind of open your eyes up to where other people do, right? Because I wasn't aware of that, right?
Yeah, very interesting stuff.
There's a little price of heavy civil penalties are.
I have printed off the contravention pages of all 16 municipalities if you'd like to read any of them later. They're very interesting. It's a lot of reading and a lot of legalese, but it's kind of neat.
Somebody want to make that motion?
That's all I'm saying.
Limited on three.
I'm on, as always.
Yeah, Brenda.
Like, show me all the regulations.
We're just gonna. That covers it, that gives you direction. Okay, all in favor? Carried. Okay, we got although there's not much left.
Thank you very much,
some
Council.
Pretty heavy conversations coming up yet, so I think we better take a lunch break. And, give our minds a bit of a break. We can get out of the game. Everybody agree with that? Yeah. Agreements?
So we're going back in an hour or a half hour?
Well, whatever it takes. Guaranteed. What's up?
It's probably gonna be an hour just for.
We drive up there, my budget get done. Okay, Dan, we're gonna reconvene at 1 o'clock more or less. Jim and Phil. You gonna join us? Tracy?
No, I haven't gone through.
Have we officially recessed the meeting?
Yeah. And we'll move to 6.3.1 Public Works, and item A is animal carcasses, request for decision. Charles?
Yes, so we had a couple calls lately about dead animals in the ditch. And just curious because the county doesn't typically do anything with dead carcasses. Would council like us to investigate what it would take to do a policy up? Because there's gonna be disposal, proper disposal per legislation and all that stuff. And a cost to it too. La Prairie has offered to give us kind of a quote as to what it would be and what that would look like. So yeah, for the once in a blue moon, what would council like to see?
Probably not in a mood to spend a whole lot of money these days.
Yeah.
New concerns in the last decade.
Well, yeah, like this.
I just think
To,
with the big greater banks, well, maybe it's a bit of a problem this year, but normally animal, you hit it, it usually runs off the road and dies in the ditch or in the field, and
What we call in the Ravens.
now the ravens do find it. I just don't know that this hasn't historically been a real concern that I'm aware of.
no, and in the entire time I've been here, this is the first time it's come up, so.
Was it the same, two people going for the same animal or two different?
Uh, it was two different. It was, one was actually a dog and one was a deer.
I do believe we're supposed to report if you hit a deer and then, you know, that's weird here, but like if you hit a deer on the highway and do an insurance claim, you have to report it. And the first question they asked is where it was, and then if you moved it off the road. So then I'm assuming the brewery goes and deals with it, or someone picks it up for dog food or something.
Well, I mean, if there's a dead carcass laying on a highway or a county road, it can be hazardous, right? You can come along and run over it, could, you know, flip you in the ditch or do some damage, so,
Yeah,
but
personally, I've thrown a few in the ditch myself.
So, I mean, we can just leave it as is and say we don't deal with it. If it comes up again, I can bring it back to you guys.
Charles, what would we do if it was actually sitting on our road though? Like if someone didn't move it and there was a dead deer, because like people hit deer all the time here. Like, what would we do with that right now? If it's on our road, it becomes our problem.
Yeah, we just move it into the ditch because then it is a safety or a safety concern. But the issue that was raised by one of the individuals that called was that it's in our road allowance, it's in front of my house in the ditch, and I want it removed, type thing, right? So when we don't have anywhere to dispose of dead animals, nor policies or procedures to do that. Because I mean, I'm not sending guys out to touch decaying, rotten stuff without knowing what exactly we need to do and where we need to take it.
so I know it's always a question that we shouldn't base what we do on other people, but what do other municipalities do? Do you have any idea? I mean, I know transportation, they have a dead like a kill carcass somewhere down by Fox Creek, I think, or somewhere between Bellevue and White Court, they have a place that they can dispose of carcasses, but that's only on their highways. So say Northern Sunrise ends up with a dead deer on their road, do you have any idea what they would do with it?
I'm not 100% sure. This had just come up, and I just wanted to know if it was worth spending any time on figuring it out as to what everybody else is doing.
I think we got bigger issues to worry about.
I concur.
If it was a concern, if it was in the middle of the road, we'd want it moved off the road, but as far as getting into carcass disposal, I don't see that it's something we need to be involved in.
I think the coyotes do a pretty good job already.
Well, and it's
Personally.
maybe just an anomaly year, like Terry said, right? Like it's extra high grader banks, the snow is different, maybe it's not as on a hot ball. I feel
Yeah,
like
and I think that's what this has been. I mean, we've seen a lot of animals on the roads. Ditches were pretty full of snow, and it was keeping them on the roads more than previous years, right? So
well, I know at our RCMP advisory meeting, they said like the animal collision calls are almost double this year because they're taking the path of least resistance, right? Which is unfortunately walking down the highway or the road. But I would be okay to just accept it for information right now, monitor it. If it continues to be an issue, then maybe we look at it.
Okay, so that's your motion,
That would be my motion.
okay? Any other discussion? Not, all in favor? Okay, go down to the next one, in addition, 6.3.2 A, Township Road 860 reclassification. Charles, you're up again.
Yeah, so just bringing this forward, I'd like to point out too, I never did get a hold of, the resident Gary and was speaking about at the last meeting, but I brought this forward to you guys anyway. Some previous reports, yeah, it's pretty straightforward. It'll be additional cost, obviously, to reclassify the road for that far of a distance. It's also worth noting that Range Road 215 and the beginning of Township 860 for sure have underground springs for sure. I don't know further up the 860 to the east, but I would assume it'd be very similar. So just here for discussion, I suppose.
So this is what we talked about, going down to,
Yeah.
I just want to read, Charles, this is not going all the way down to
no,
the flats, just up.
to where he wants to
Yeah,
go.
that's correct. It's 4.95 kilometers.
Yeah.
I don't think the springs last or go right down to the bottom because the flat sort of that dries up, so.
Yeah, that's why I said I don't know, but I do know for sure from doing road work years past. Before I was with the county, there was significant issue at 860 by the water well. So
So the total length would be 865 meters? Is that right?
no, 4.95 kilometers.
Yeah, that's previously
Yeah.
4,800. Okay, any questions?
I make a motion that we change this to a residential road.
Yeah. Okay, motion's on the screen, this. Charles, you probably can't see it, or can you, doesn't matter.
No, it's okay. You guys, whatever you guys decide is what I'll do.
So,
Yeah,
yeah, before we proceed here, we went through this and then, resident decided they were gonna have it, they were gonna compromise and put the residents on a piece of road that was considerably shorter than this, and that was where we were, and then now it's back again, so I guess I'm a little confused why it's back to the original one when
That was,
thought we had an agreement or an arrangement for that.
that was sort of our compromise at the time. That if we were willing to go to that far but this is the piece of land that he wanted and had his heart set on. And so he bought that, so. Yeah, it's a little bit farther, but being that. We're not, like, I just have a problem with us. Dictating where people should live. This shouldn't be up for discussion, really, in my mind.
Well, then in that case, then someone wants to build 20 kilometers down the road, then we were obligated then. You know, as municipalities, we have responsibility to direct development where we can reasonably, within a reasonable cost, supply the services. Now, we haven't been doing it. We just recently started with the road reclassification. Now, this is kind of a test of our policy here. And so do we fold? You know, like we had the cost laid out, what it was gonna cost, the extra cost to the county. And it's beyond, far beyond what taxation would bring in, so.
Well, I mean, that's. I'm not sure that them numbers are real relative to what it'll be, because I know my taxes are quite a bit higher than what is said on for this. This part of the, you know, what he's proposing, so. I mean, that's really doesn't get into it, but are we in the, you know, are we in the for building the community, or are we just shutting everything down, is what I'm thinking.
Well, I would suggest that all municipalities direct development where it's appropriate. That's,
Well, you can't tell what to do.
well, maybe just, well, we issue development permits, and that's,
So if we issue it.
so we have a certain amount of money to spend on road maintenance. And do we continue to increase it, not knowing if we're able to sustain that in the future? Yeah, that's where we're at.
Here,
So my question is this, if I look at your pricing breakdown there, Charles, there's a block there that says residential per year. Is that the cost of the taxes per year, or?
No, so I was just gonna jump in on that after everybody was done their discussion, is this cost that's in front of you has nothing to do with taxes. This is to maintain the road. That $8,301.06 is an estimate, well, an estimate based off of our previous costs. For 4.95 kilometers of road.
So the current field access will cost us $3,600, the residential will
Correct.
cost us $8,300, so the difference between two is $4,700.
Yes.
and is this property, what tax class is it in? Is it country residential or is it agriculture?
Agriculture.
Yeah, right now it's just farmland. And I was just trying to sort out if there's an active development permit yet. I don't think there is.
We couldn't give him
Yeah.
one because it wasn't on. residential.
So he has a shop there currently, right?
That's all we.
Does he?
Yes, he does.
So in other words, he doesn't live there, right? So it's not to be able to go there because he lives there. That's my understanding.
That's his intent, though, is to build a house there.
I'd also like to point out that there was an illegal approach installed on this quarter. And it was dealt with back in 24, I believe.
Well, is there any shop there?
So how does he get back and forth to the shop? He must obviously get there.
Yeah, goes down the road.
Okay, so
Do we have a development permit for the shop?
Probably an egg shop.
it's an egg shop.
And
It's probably been.
accessory ag building,
2 years, yeah, into this,
But it's not being, it would be exempt if it's an egg building, but it's not even
because he's got
captured on the
border,
assessment.
like, or a half section of land, so it's not a acreage. So. And he did apply for an acre, or for a, development permit, and we went, you know, and then we, shut it down,
because of
so,
his field access.
but I know when I, was, going around, this fall, there were several of them mentioned that, of the people in my board weren't happy with this situation, that it should be, reclassified, because just that they, you know, because this is where he wanted to live, and
So they were in favor of it being reclassified to residential.
yes.
Any other questions, discussion?
Just a comment, I'm thinking that just the proximity to the town of Peace River and the secondary highway there's a good chance, there may be more development. in that road in the future. It would be.
Comment, yeah.
Well, and I give him kudos, right? Like he wanted to get a development permit, was declined, and he hasn't put a residence there, even out of spite or trying to go around the rules. He's adhering to them, right? Which is what we want them to do, so.
Any other questions? We'll call for the vote, all in favor? Opposed? It was carried.
Thank you.
You get reelected again, you owe us a beer.
Six point four point one, the pale fill relocation at Weberville and Warrensville. So I see you did some little bit of cost analysis on this. Charles, you still with us?
Sorry, was coughing my head off. So yeah, we did a bit of an analysis on this, just gave you what it's gonna cost to do it, as well as just kind of the usage that's coming out of pale fill and truck fill. The reason I included truck fill is if you have somebody using that pale fill, they may be blocking somebody who's trying to use truck fill. End of the day, I don't think it would happen very often, but here for your consideration, and let us know what you want to do.
Yeah, I guess I feel like, I mean, I'm probably the one who gets all the complaints about it, but I think the consumption might just be low because maybe people don't realize it, right? Like, I don't think a lot of people know about it. That being said, I just kind of wanted the evidence to put this to bed once and for all, and I don't think that it justifies the cost to move it, but now we have all the information, so we can make an informed decision about it, right? So.
I think it's around the corner.
So Charles, looking at the pictures that you sent, where is the pale field now? I'm
Right around the corner by the man door going.
Thank you.
Yeah, so if you go to well, you won't be able to go to it in this picture, but if you were to walk up to the right of where those truck fill outputs are, there's a heated sidewalk that goes up the other side of the building, and it's right there. It's a button that they just go and fill.
So the problem was it was too icy there, or what?
The problem was there was seniors who were struggling to get around the building with their jug and back. And then on the side of the building, like I know in Warrensville, like I'm sure like simple snow fence or something would guard and prevent that drift from coming from the north. Like, I mean, for way less than $11,000 to move a whole tap. But like for them to go around the corner, pack their jug, and then now there's a barricade there because we had to put a cement barricade there, and now she's gotta juggle around that, and there's lots of concerns about it's difficult for seniors to get it. So they wanted to know why they couldn't pull up on the pad at the front, fill, and then keep going. And I mean,
Yeah.
to block traffic, I hear you, but I mean, it takes like 30 seconds to fill a jug, right? It's not gonna take forever.
Yeah, well, and that's why I said like I don't foresee it being a huge issue. The reason those barricades got put there were because somebody did hit the building
Yes.
by backing up to it and not paying attention or whatever.
For sure, and I think like given the cost, like I said, like, I mean, we could probably get a length of snow fence and help deter that part or something, right? Like, put some, I don't know.
Well, maybe move the barricade a little bit.
Yeah, I'm sure there's more cost-effective ways we could look at it. That being said, it's the same for people that.
So you can't park over there, you have to park in the front?
You can, when it's really icy, like it kind of drops off, so it's like a little bit. Stretchy, but it is heated, and all the times I've gone there, it's never been an issue to me. But.
Let's put this on the summer road tour, make sure we stop and look at them, and then the visual help it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I agree with Caitlin for that price. I'm sure we can, move a barricade, put some snow fence, put a sand tunnel or something.
Yeah, well, and I think at the end of the day, it's just there was enough complaints that we had to look into it. Now we have the evidence, so we can make an informed decision and we move forward.
For sure.
Thank you for doing that.
Not a problem.
Okay, so you wanna just accept this information by the size of it?
Yeah, and I can make that motion.
Okay, Councillor Shelby, moves to acknowledge receipt of the report and accept for information. All in favor? Carried. 6.62, addition. Item A, the 26 Northern Connections Expo report.
So I can speak to this one, I guess.
Sure.
Just, we got the notification, so this is the Peace River Trade Show, I guess, so. Got the save the date and the early registration link for it, so just bringing it to your attention so you can, I guess, flag it if you guys want to attend again. I should preface it with that, I guess, and then, eventually we'll bring back, sign up sheet to work shifts, and then just if we want to target anything specifically as far as communication or as far as solicitation of information from residents at this, we'd appreciate that sooner rather than later so we can prepare things. Well, and I think we did have the actual sign up already.
Okay. So. In other words, we're committed to another trade show.
We haven't done anything yet. This just come through, I think, Friday, Thursday or Friday last week, so. If you guys do want to do it, I think we get an early bird registration pricing, I think. Or the sooner we sign up, we just get to pick our spot, I guess. Oh yeah, early bird pricing. I think we save $90 or $100 or something like that. So.
The total how much?
So it's 560 early bird. I think last year it was like 690 or 650. So to look again, small dollars in the grand scheme of your budget.
And hey, it said May, I can roll.
Budget might be coming under scrutiny, so.
Yeah, but just bear in mind that budget comes with need to pay additional costs for Australia and all those type of things.
Yeah, no, the registration part is not available.
Did we get a feedback from last year's on how many businesses actually?
This is Peace River's, not ours.
So
all we do is attend this one as a exhibitor or a vendor. We don't host in any fashion or participate that way for this one.
But you don't get, don't be take like
When somebody.
signatures, somebody comes through, take down the details or stuff to actually.
I think we mark how much stuff we give away.
I did too.
Trent, are you online? Do we, like, we don't track people, or I wasn't there last year, but
So
I've never tracked
people.
people.
So.
No,
My question I'm having is it really an effective way of spending our money or not?
Well,
I would say, given all the conversations going on in the community right now, it's probably a good time to do it.
well, maybe, but based on last year, or the last couple of years, it's just basically handing out swag, like it wasn't, and people would say, oh yeah, they try to identify where they were, and they always say Northern Sunrise, right? No, where are the other ones on the other side? Oh, so at least we should have a map there showing our boundaries and kind of a pin where Peace River is as a reference point, but yeah, like you say, I agree, Kevin, with maybe things changing with, with Mercer, with Peace Energy Alberta, always moving things, maybe now's the time not to leave, but up until now.
Well, and I think it's the first one after the election, so you get that one under your belt, and I think maybe we reassess, maybe this time we take the time and ensure that we get the stats from this one, and
Well,
unfortunately, I think this one drives a little bit more traffic than the Manning one does.
Oh, absolutely it does, but maybe identify ourselves better too, right? So
Yeah,
people,
well, we started
and
doing,
trap, yeah.
I think it was last year or the year before, I can't remember now, but we've been advertising the schedule so that people know when their counselor is going to be at the booth in case they already want to take the
pop-up banners. We have one made that would show the region, show Peace River, Grimshaw, Manning, and have us in big bright orange or something. This is the County Northern Lights. And
like not as the backdrop, you mean,
Yeah,
just
no,
as
as a backdrop.
oh, as a backdrop.
Or even an additional banner, so maybe.
Additional.
We just did a nice backdrop.
This is like you say, honestly, so many people had no idea what County Northern Lights was, right?
So it's an opportunity to educate people.
Yeah.
That's right.
So we need like a-
It's also a way of supporting this event for sure. Again, is there a cost benefit to us? Probably not, but.
But it would be nice if we could come up with something that would engage people more.
Yeah, not just that field, but.
Yeah, I don't know what, but yeah, not just this time.
Maybe we find a different way to disperse swag other than a wheel.
Maybe a question or something.
Arm wrestling.
Yeah, now we're talking.
Well, and so we weren't necessarily looking for game, but like if there's things that you guys wanna like drive attention to as far as questions, like then we can have that information specifically there instead of just pens and swag, right?
Yeah, okay.
So that you can get more of a benefit out of it.
Okay, well, anyway, for today, we're just putting it on our radar. We're not making.
Or if you're ready to commit to shifts, we can do that. At the very least, I think if you guys want to do it, we should at least get your motion to register for it.
Yeah.
And then don't wait too long to give us your schedule, because it is nice to advertise that for ways in advance leading up to the event. And like I said, we need time to get stuff ordered to hand out if we can, and we need time to prepare if there's certain information you want or certain targeted things you want to solicit from people, we need to prepare that, whether it's electronically or have forms that people can fill out or whatever the case may be.
And also maybe set a budget for swag, that if we need to order stuff, at least we have time to do that, because.
We've got an annual
It's in,
promotional materials budget that we just work under, but yeah.
and then, because this is in 3.5 months time, 4 months time.
I'd really like to see a visual of where the County Northern Light lays geographically, right? It's shame that's not a big expense to have one of those.
And maybe just have a draw of all the swag in a gift basket.
Yeah, I mean, you could have your pens and mints and stuff there if you're gonna wave it as on one major basket or something.
Yeah. I agree. Rather than you spin the wheel, cause we just get all the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is what I've noticed personally, is you just,
Seven times,
oh,
then bring all the friends and come back again. With a different hat on, so you don't recognize them.
they don't even do that, they just go back.
Okay, so we got a proposed motion to acknowledge receipt of the report and authorize the purchase of a booth. And bring back the schedule at a later meeting. You know, I guess if anybody has it, I mean, it's up to you guys, you and Trinity to plan it or whoever does, but we can certainly give you some suggestions to work with.
Yeah, it's just, and the point being like. Administratively, Trin and I gain nothing out of this. This is intended to be an avenue for you guys to be public facing, so we rather tailor it to what you want.
All right. Well, we'll make this motion for today then, and then we'll get the ball rolling.
But then I can,
Oh, got Gary.
Oh.
Well, we can hurry on.
No, it's okay. I'm fine.
All in favor? Period. So we need to make that motion to appoint all the Ag Service Board members to the appeal board. Which we discussed at the Ag Service Board meeting, so. Looks like Brenda is on the mute.
Well, that's the one.
Yeah, from the Ag Service Board, so. I don't have her name in there, is there?
I just I copied from
Another one?
yeah,
Yes, you can do.
so whoever.
No, you can do it.
You can just. So all in favor? It's carried. Board and committee reports this meeting, info package was there. Review. Need a motion to accept the info package for information. Councillor, all in favor? It's carried. Open mic, Dan, got any questions?
For addition K, I was just wondering why you weren't proceeding with the RFG Green Municipal Fund. Is it the cost?
The RFP for which?
The green
Or-
flush.
Yeah. Because we were initially in the presentation, we kind of were under the impression that it was gonna be zero cost to the municipality. So of course we would sign on to that, you know. In light of a $20,000 buy-in fee, we're just not sure we see the value in it at this time. Maybe it's something we can look at in the future, but. So yeah, I think short answer, we were prepared to contribute that to it.
Would it cost us 20 grand to find out if it's worth it?
Yeah, well. Fair enough. The Resource Center for Suicide Prevention, Dr. Hell, that's a future delegation, or it's gonna come, or
Yep, we're gonna reach out to them.
gonna reach out?
It's up to them if they want to, but I'm sure they will.
Yeah. And the third one, I talked a little bit with Earl afterwards, so I got some more clarification. But for the land use bylaw enforcement, what was council's decision on the future bylaw enforcement? What was
We did, that was just a report given to us, presented to us on what neighboring municipalities do, how they handle enforcement.
Good report.
Yeah, so I think administration will bring back some options for us to review and see if we want to move ahead with something. Right, nothing has changed with our land use bylaw today.
Just exposed to the report, and you're gonna discuss it, but
Pardon me?
you were just exposed to her report.
Yeah, just for information, right?
Yeah.
So it'll kind of help us just make a decision when they do bring back maybe some options, what we want to do for enforcement.
Right.
Maybe it'll be nothing, it might stay the same, but that's.
There will be a report with a recommendation from administration, I think the first week.
Yep.
Mark, or the first meeting of March.
That's what you vote for.
Yeah. And, but I'd like to ask more questions about the delegation. Sorry.
You could try.
Well, I guess depending on, because we're gonna go back in camera. Yeah, that's probably not gonna stick around those, so. Not saying I'll have any decisions anyway today, but. I'm sure when we make a decision on it, you'll be aware of it, so. Patience. You're looking for some headline stories.
Did you hear that anything happened at the Bay Net Center in this? Server, it was on the news this morning, something's happening there.
Yeah, I heard a snippet of it.
Nothing. That's all it's like, what kind of thing was on the radio. I don't know what happened. He didn't say.
Yeah, an incident of some kind.
He said something was going on with Bay Net, so.
Maybe something going on.
Recording of it?
Well, they thought it was something, you know, maybe the bullet happened. He said, I'll report back to you as soon as I know.
You're giving us much influence.
Yeah, that's okay. So if I was asking if he heard it in the morning, because I don't have the radio on, they said it's still open.
So we'll keep, Josh, you know, all this. Yes, please.
Linda, there's nothing on their website, so it's not. Yeah.
So it's really fun. You know.
Thank you. Hey, then.
Okay, Councillor Beck is moving to go down, all in favor,